Hey, welcome back to the Orloff Show, episode 1144. So, welcome to the new golden age. Welcome to a new era for America and a new era for the Orloff Show. Perhaps, hopefully not always a new era of it almost not even being 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing a Orloff Show. Why am I doing that? Because there's no heat in the house. And I decided to come down here and feed the cat and dog, and it's about 50 degrees in the house. It's about 10 degrees outside, going down to 8 degrees. And then I think it's going to be up into the double digits the rest of the week. But today, oh, please pray that this part they're getting for our boiler works, and then we'll have heat, and then we can be back to normal, because trust me, having no heat when it's 7 or 6 degrees outside or 8 degrees, it's no joke, and it's not fun. But anyway, so just took a hot shower. I mean, we've got electricity. We've got the boiler. I mean, not the boiler, the hot water heater working. It's just we don't have any heat. So whatever, man. So this is episode 1144 of the Orloff Show. Watching yesterday's Alex Jones show, and yeah, man, we look at some comic books, I guess. That's what some of you come here for. It looks like we're going to have some wonderful times ahead for the next, I would say, 4 years, but I think that if the 4 years is as amazing as it looks like it's going to be, then there's going to, it's going to continue with other people running in his shoes. So, oh my gosh, so we'll see. Since King George the First, 300 years ago. Oh man. Is not even German. It's Transylvanian. Yeah. So it's the Orloff Show, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. King Charles even looks like Count Dracula. And he lives half the year in Count Dracula's original castle. Well, so how are you doing? It's a wonderful Wednesday morning, isn't it? Because they'd have killed him, but he could write a fiction novel called... I've got a space heater here that was lent to me, and 2 other space heaters that a wonderful person lent to us. And the one original space heater we have, but we've got to be prepared for emergencies like this. And and so I don't live in Texas anymore, so I should be used to it. But actually in Texas, something worse happened to us. It was 0 degrees outside, and the Biden administration, or whoever was in charge of that, clearly not Biden, about a month after he was elected, turned the electricity off to the majority of the population of Texas. And it was 0 degrees outside. It never gets to 0 degrees where I was. It could get darn cold in Texas, but not that cold. And it was insane. It got down to 40 degrees in the house. That was worse. And we weren't sure. And it was all the electricity. There was no heat. We didn't have anything, man. And some people didn't have power for like over a week, I think. It came back about 24 hours later. Then the water wasn't drinkable. I remember all that. So, I brought this box down because it said it was Gold Key Comics, and I was a guest on a show on Night Tigers Network on Sunday night. But it turns out this is not Gold Key Comics box 2. It's DC Horror and Humor. See, that's the problem with writing on the box, is then it turns into something else, and then you just can't erase it. So, yeah. What is in this box? Oh. Now, looking at this, you would assume, man, that's an Archie comic. Or maybe it's, well, I don't see the Archie gang. Maybe it's that Wilkin boy or one of the other Archie-type comics that Archie put out. But no, it turns out it's a Archie imitation from DC. You can't see the National Comics logo behind this blue dot. One of the greatest comic stores I've ever been to. Oh, there's some kind of, yeah, this comic has had some moisture damage at some point in its history, which is probably why it was in the $2 bin. The blue dot at Duncanville Comics, which is one of the greatest comic stores that's in Texas. They would price comics with stickers. But, so he's tossing pancakes up in the air and is distracted by the girls, and pancakes are landing on everybody's head. Says, this is the third time we've passed. Do you think he's noticed this yet? Binky, number 10. Binky's buddies, I should say. Here's Binky's buddies, number 11. Stuff like this never shows up in any comic store that I've been to, but Duncanville Books, they'll get it. Or maybe it shows up in other stores and they toss it in the trash, or who knows. But they tried to bring Binky back. This one, those two, obviously I bought secondhand. This one I bought off the spinner rack at the 7-Eleven down the street from my house. This came out, says summer. I would assume this was either the summer of 76 or the summer of 70s. Well, it's the summer of 77 because it's 35 cents, right? That's when, because it was right when Star Wars was released that comics went from 30 to 35 cents because there are price variants of the first issue of Marvel Star Wars. Some say 30 cents, some say 35 cents. So this being summer, we can infer, I mean, we could also open it up and look at the indicia, but that would require work. Okay. Oh my gosh. This comic has importance to me. I can't even believe, man, thank you so much. So one of the most wonderful, is it? Okay, so Duncanville Books, I mean, I've met the owner. I'm not friends with him, really. I mean, I could have been if I tried, but it's, so I'm not sponsored by him or something. I'm just telling you, that's one of the greatest comic stores in the world that of the ones I've been to in my, how many years have I been collecting? 56 years of collecting, because I've been collecting since I was 4 in 1969. That probably, there's probably not a lot of people on YouTube that have been collecting that long, just except for the pantheon of gods like Captain Strangelove, whatever, that have been collecting for much longer because they're a few years older. But this comic, another great comic, it used to be a comic store, now it's an online presence called Last Frontier Comics. Man, he heard me talking about this comic, and I asked him, hey, do you have this comic? He says, yeah, hey, I'll just send it to you free. And not only did he send this to me free, he sent a bunch of really cool Golden Age comics to me that just for free, extra in the box, that were books. He said, yeah, no one's going to buy these from me, and so here. But why is this seemingly random comic so important to me? The first and only issue of Laurel and Hardy from DC. I think Charlton had done a Laurel and Hardy before. Well, obviously, this is based on a Saturday morning cartoon that not many people remember that Larry Harmon did. See, it says Larry Harmon's Laurel and Hardy. Why is this important to me? Because we were living in Germany for 3 years. My dad was in the Army. He was stationed in Landstuhl in Heidelberg. So it's probably June of 1972, and we're all packed up, and our boxes are being sent back to the United States. To my dad's next place he was going to be was Hampton, Virginia, and that's where I went to second grade. So I've just finished first grade, right? And we're staying in, I don't know, like the officers' quarters or some kind of fancy place there, because we've already left the I don't know what you call it, where military families live. It's like an old apartment complex. It's the not quarters. What do you call it, man? It's housing. You call it base housing, right? Which was, you know, we lived there from 69 to 72, and it just seemed like we were just living in a regular apartment. Later, I was told that's where like the German officers lived in World War II. So basically, the United States, like a hermit crab, comes along, and we just basically took over a German World War II base. And so the hospital my dad worked, at least partially, was a German, enemy hospital at one point. So anyway, again, what are you talking about, Gratu, on this long circuitous story that goes seemingly nowhere? Well, okay, so I walked there was a little store there. There was a movie theater, right? And then there was a little magazine, book, and comic store, bookstore, right? And then there was the PX. It was all like in one big complex, right? Sort of. The movie theater is an old-fashioned single-screen theater they used to have in all the Army bases. I assume maybe Navy bases and whatever, Air Force bases. But that was what I always remember when I'd go on base with my dad or mom because they needed to shop at the commissary or the PX. There would be a movie theater, and it would have curtains that would open at the beginning, and they would always have the national anthem at the beginning because it was a military base and it was cheap to get in. They'd change the movies frequently. They'd have little flyers so you could see what was coming out. That's where I saw Golden Voyage of Sinbad with my dad. That was a wonderful experience. Ray Harryhausen, that was 74. Anyway, so I walk from this officer's quarters, right, and I go to the bookstore for, I guess, the last time. It was a wonderful bookstore. There was a wall. I got to cut this commercial out. I'm recording history as Alex Jones. There was a wall of magazines and comics. The comics weren't on a spinner rack. They were all displayed on a magazine rack. Just one second. And I said for months, Elon, flamethrower, cars and pedophile rings. It's the right thing to do anyways. These governments all run other intelligence agencies and pedophile rings. That's how they stage these coups in places like Romania. Against the anti-war president that won. You've got to go for the jugular. And Elon hasn't decided to go for the jugular. He went for it and already got it. They're bleeding out. They're dead politically. That's already done. So, press the attack. Show no mercy. Do what must be done, Lord Vader. The Jedi are relentless. If they're not all wiped out, there'll be civil war with no end. And I'm joking, obviously, we're not the bad guys. That's how the globalists try to portray us, so we play along with the little joke. No, we're not the ones that want to cut the little boys' penises off and poison everyone with atrazine and fluoride and poison prion, spongiform and cephalopathy causing injections. We're not the ones that want thermonuclear war. We're not the ones that want to cut off the energy sources. We're not the ones that want to certify that teachers don't. You know what? I just remembered. Wanted to get some shoes on. Wearing socks when it's this cold in the house is not really smart. And anyway, and I just forgot that there's an edit button now that that just apparently was added. See, watch, it's amazing. See, isn't that incredible? Yeah, I could have just stopped the camera, but anyway, sorry about that. So, amazing bookstore. That's where I would see Famous Monsters of Filmland, and that's where I bought my first issue of Cartoons, the Hot Rod. You kind of had to have been there in the 70s to know what that magazine was. Cartoons. There was Famous Monsters of Filmland, Vampirella, Eerie, Creepy, all the comic books, I was obsessed with monster stuff. And so I walked to the bookstore by myself, age 7? Yeah, 7. And I purchased this comic book on my own, where I hand the lady 20 cents, because there's no tax, so I would have just paid 2 dimes. No tax on a military base. And purchased this copy of Laurel and Hardy #1, but somehow it disappeared from my collection. I don't know what happened to it. I wouldn't have thrown it away. I don't think my mother would have thrown it away. There was also the first DC Tarzan that disappeared at some point, and I don't know. I had a friend in 3rd and 4th grade that had stuff that was really great, like issues of Famous Monsters, and remember he had an issue of Spoof Spoof #5 with Rod Serling on the cover, the Night Gallery parody. He had an early issue of Fear, which later became Adventures into Fear, square bound, and I remember doing some trading with him. If I traded this to him, when this was still just a 2-year-old comic in 1973 or 74, I don't remember it. It's possible he could have stolen it. I don't know, because he liked the same stuff I liked, and he was known to do that sometimes. But anyway, so I don't know. But anyway, so every so often I'll wax nostalgic about my Laurel and Hardy #1, and so Last Frontier Comics said, hey, I'll just send you one. I do have one. I'll just send it to you free. And that was one of the most wonderful things that happened in 2024. I think that was during 2024. I don't have any idea. Or it was a recent history. How about that? Okay. Falling in Love #77. It's not a great cover. I've always liked romance comics. I know they're for girls, but you don't see them much in the wild, and now a lot of people my age are starting to collect those because they realize they can't afford anything else. Well, actually, now ironically, the value of those are going up. People realize, hey, I always ignored these, but there's great artwork in them, and the stories are fun to read. And yeah, but that was a time when comics were also made for girls. I don't. Maybe it's gone back to that now with Marvel, because I don't think they. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what audience they're serving over there at the House of Ideas, man. Anyway, man. So how are you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? I guess I should plug this phone in. Devil don't like you. God loves you and made you. Get with the program, folks. All right. Incredible. So, we're for life or we're for death. We're for success or we're for failure. You could spend 50, what did I say? It must be 56 years of collecting, and for the most part, 99.99% of my collection was either bought when I was a kid or bought in comic stores, mostly comic stores, or flea market, mostly comic stores over the years. I had never done much mail order, only very little mail order, but maybe, because all of this, the internet is still, to me, a recent thing that started in the 90s. To me, the 90s aren't that long ago, but oh well. So that's why I don't have a lot of amazing stuff, because everything I have, I blood, sweat, and tears obtaining it. It's not just boom, boom, hitting buttons on a computer or phone screen, and then 2 days, 3 days later, everything shows up in a box. That's the coward's way. That's the way of the inferior collector. Oh my gosh, out of sight products. I'm just kidding. You guys take me too seriously. It's all kayfabe, man. I'm trying to play the part of a curmudgeon, and some of you don't get it. Out of sight products. Send for them today, man. Look at these out of sight products. See these? Oh my gosh, David Cassidy wants you. How to Develop a Beautiful Body by Lieutenant Uhura. Like, oh my gosh. They're so in love. Yeah, these are different ads than they have at the comics that are aimed at boys. They don't have wigs and those other. It's like, get a cardboard tank for $4.99, young boys. You don't have longer nails in minutes or 10-way hairpiece. Actually, some of those hairstyles are pretty cool. There's like look at that one in the middle. It's like Yeoman Rand. Always admired the height of hair on Star Trek. They had high hair in mini skirts, and there were bloody fights, and there were monsters, and none of that was on Star Trek The Next Generation. So, a boy ad slipped in. Fly your own 747 jumbo jet. Man, incredible. Look, you can get psychedelic posters for your bedroom. They're groovy, man. They're far out and out of sight. Robert E. I look up because Robert E. Lee was one of my ancestors. Somehow, not exactly sure I know, but on my mother's side there was some connection. Share the secrets of girls' love stories, number 146. You've got to decide. One of us has to go. I can't. I don't know which one of you I love. Beautiful artwork, great hairstyles, girls' love stories. That's 146. 180. A little bit further on, we're now in the 20-cent era. Down in South Texas on the Mexican border. How could Ron mistake Beth's lips for mine? It's Rita. All right, here's Trump on the Here's Girls' Romances, 136. Baby, you've got to make up your mind now. Is it me or that hippie? I wish I could collect a bunch of hippie romance comics. That would be great. Now, here's a facsimile. This is not real. Young Romance. I'm not exact. I knew at one point why this facsimile exists, but I can't remember now. It's issue 125 of Young Romance, but this actually came out a year ago. And the way you can tell is it doesn't say 12 cents. It says $3.99. But other than that, From a distance, you'd think it's a real comic from the 60s. Young Romance. Here's a real copy of Young Romance. That was issue number 125. Here's 165. Have a fling with Young Romance. They've changed the logo. What is she crying about? It says, oh, it's a letter from DC. It says National Periodical Publications, which is the real name of DC. Young Romance. Dear Laura Penn, my name is Tony Anderson. I am 16 years old, and everyone says that my life is just beginning, that I can have my pick of boys. Then why do I feel that my life is ending? Oh, no, she sent... What? I don't know. Somehow she's got a letter from DC Comics, and it's upset her. I don't understand why someone at DC would be telling her that. But well, here's a very recent one from about 1975. Young Romance, number 206. How about that? Okay, so according to this box, it's got DC horror and humor. Well, there was some humor with Binky. There was some romance. Oh, I don't even have romance listed on here. DC horror, humor, and we'll add and romance. Otherwise, I'll never remember. That's the extent of my DC Comics romance. I have Marvel romance. Marvel romance was even cooler. Oh, Charlton Comics had great romance. They had tons of... I've got... You know, Gold Key never had romance titles. Now that I think about it. Harvey never had romance titles. That's... yeah. Oh, well. Maybe they did in the 40s or 50s, early 50s. All right, so now we're moving into The Phantom Stranger, number 21. That's something I need to step up my game on, is getting more Phantom Strangers. Why don't I have issues 1 through 20? I don't know. Maybe they... Actually, maybe... I don't know if they restarted the numbering from the 50s, but... Or maybe I just missed 1 through 20 because most 3 and 4-year-olds aren't buying this comic. But this is not a childhood copy. I got this later. Notice the guy, the shadow there, the guy in the electric chair. Okay, but 20 cents are, you know, even though my first comic book I ever bought in 1969 was Choo Choo Charlie, Gold Key comic. And that's when comics were 15 cents. When I first got into comics, big time collecting in 2nd grade, 3rd, 4th, the comics were 20 cents. Here's Phantom Stranger, number 22. And I don't... oh, I've got 2 copies of that. 26. Oh, I've always loved this cover. Mike Kaluta. That's why I love it. People don't talk about Mike Kaluta enough. There were a bunch of new artists there in the Bronze Age. Mike Kaluta, Bernie Wrightson, Mike Plug, Jim Starlin. Who else was there, man? I'm leaving people out. Bunch of artists from the Philippines. Bernie Wrightson. Did I say Bernie Wrightson? A bunch of them worked in the horror comics. Yeah, what it was there was a generation of, if you do the math, a bunch of young guys in the early 20s. If you're, say, 25 and it's 1970 and you're a young guy starting at DC or Marvel, if you follow the years back, Then they're around 1960, they're 15. Around 1950, they're 5. And then you realize, oh, EC Comics was the really high watermark of comics history. EC Comics was getting started right around then. So that means right as their early years when I was starting to collect comics, like around this time in my life, those guys were reading EC Comics. And so I think that's why there was such an explosion of talent and artists and things like that. They were the ones that were exposed to EC Comics at a really young age. And then they were coming of age working for the comics companies in the early 70s, late 60s. Yeah. So that's that. There's something on this comic. Do you see that on her white dress? It's like, I'm realizing that this is not my childhood copy. This is some other person's childhood copy. And, oh, it's not on the book. Whew, what a relief. It's in the bag. What? Why? It looks like a booger, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get that out of the bag. Come on. What the hell? I'm sorry to offend you. What the heck was that? I don't know. But un-American, whatever it was, some communist plot. Beautiful golden age. That's what I said. I think we ought to change the name of this channel and call it the New Golden Age. What do you think of that? What do you guys think of changing the name of this channel? 20s. Would that heartbreak you? Here's 27. This is not one I bought as a child either. Question is, why don't I have more of these? You don't see these very often in stores. Here's number 30. What a beautiful cover that is. The manufacturer of range stoves. Remember, a few years ago they denied that was their plan. They were openly saying they were going to do it. Yeah, how about that? They just did that. So they've been sabotaging. 31. Reset is a post-industrial world. The Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, 92 in Rio de Janeiro. The globalists wrote the damn treaty. That's what we've been 33. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I've explained 1,000 times. 34. In the last few decades, whether you're in America or Germany or Russia or South Africa. Man, it's 4:30. Oh, my alarm to wake me up is going to go off at 5. I wonder if that will disturb my recording. I wonder if it'll stop. It might cause the show to end. 35. You need to care about the rest of the world because it affects you. Jim Aparo. He was a great artist too. Look at that. People mainly know him as a Batman artist. Okay, here we go. This is the first one I bought as a kid, number 36. This is a childhood copy. What a beautiful cover. 37. This was not a childhood copy. You see, it's a purchase at Duncanville Books. This time it's a green sticker. I don't remember the significance of the different colors, but that's probably in the $2 bin, I'm guessing. Maybe, I don't remember. Either the $2 or the $5 bin. 38. To me, this is a pathetic collection of The Phantom Stranger. You might disagree, but I don't know. Who cares? 40, this was a childhood copy. I bought this as a kid. How could a kid not have bought that? Look at that incredible cover with Dead Man. And man, the Phantom Stranger is like tiny on the cover. There he is down there. You would have thought this is a Dead Man comic. I mean, Dead Man is in it. It's actually a co-build comic. See, Phantom Stranger and Dead Man. Okay, that's 41. And they brought him back in whenever this was. Oh my gosh, the Phantom Stranger. Put some clothes on, you filthy animal. Yeah, Phantom Stranger walking around buck naked. Man, what's wrong with him? This is from 1987, which to me were not good years. When the Bronze Age ended, and I think some people say it ended in 1985, that's about when I was about about done. But I stuck around. I didn't. I mean, I stuck around, but I wasn't as into comics. And look at what they did. Doc Savage. He's not who you think he is. Well, why isn't he? I liked what Doc Savage was. Why are you changing him? What is wrong with you, DC? Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earths destroyed all I loved about DC, even though I was enjoying reading Crisis on Infinite Earths when it came out 40 years ago. I didn't realize, hey, they're serious. They really are killing off everything I love. Supergirl, Crypto, all that, all the different Earths. Anyway, yeah. This is obviously not as cool as those 70s Phantom Strangers I'm showing you. If you think it is, then you're obviously mistaken, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, another important significant event in my life. It seems like these significant events in my life always happened right when we were moving. And we moved a lot when I was a kid. It wasn't until sixth grade that we remained stable because my dad retired from the military. So we moved to Virginia. In second grade, I spent in Virginia, and then we moved to San Antonio, which is my birthplace and my mom's birthplace, her hometown. And right, just like I got that Laurel and Hardy comic, my last comic bought in Germany before we got on the plane to fly to the United States. My last comic that I bought at the 7-Eleven down the street in Hampton, Virginia, was what I'm about to show you, and I then and then we got in the car and drove across the country. And then when I lived in San Antonio, that was some of the most significant years of my life. I had good friends, and that's when wacky packages came into my life and all the discovered superhero comics and everything. But this comic I bought, couldn't believe how amazing it was. To me, I always say it must have been like what a kid in the early 50s experienced when they first picked up a Harvey Kurtzman, Will Elder, Jack Davis, Wally Wood issue of Mad, the color comic. It had to have been that same experience I got when I picked up my first issue of Plop with the wonderful Basil Wolverton. Of course, he was an artist for Mad back then, 20 years before this came out. This is lots of Sergio Aragonis. It's just, man, I couldn't believe it. That is not my childhood copy. This is my childhood copy that went across the country with me. I probably should put it in a better bag and board. Here's another copy I bought later just because I couldn't resist. Plop number 2. This isn't my childhood copy. This is an upgrade. Plop number 2. This is my childhood copy. These childhood copies are not bagged and boarded properly, and that should be probably my next project. Sometime as a New Year's resolution for 2025, get the plops better. Although kind of that's how people didn't used to have backing boards. That's a new concept. But the thing is, it's almost like you need a clear backing board for these because they have the character even bigger on the back. And it's kind of the same concept that Mad started as. Mad started as kind of a humorous horror comic, and then within a couple of issues, it morphed into just parodies of everything. Here's number 5. Oh, and you don't see the whole image. They give you the whole image on the back. Commercial. Picking up the remote. It's freezing cold. The remote is freezing cold. If we don't get this thing fixed, man, we're toast. I mean, well, that's a bad analogy. We're the opposite of toast. We're ice cubes. Toast implies warmth, which we do not have. You never see plops in the wild, as the people say. They just, I don't think people care about plop. I mean, normal people, superhero people, they don't care. This is one of the greatest comics ever in the history of the world. I laugh and scoff at people that don't love this comic. It's got a little drain. That's number 7. This is the history of my 3rd and 4th grade year. And then, like everything, what do they say? The law of entropy, plop finally just petered out. And it just stopped being fun. But there were several really good years in plop's history. We're up to issue 10. It didn't have ads in it. That was one thing that was interesting about plop. Until issue 11, and all of a sudden, then they had ads. But it was a bold and fascinating experience. It was a great time to be a comic collector. I love this cover. I just don't like the text. I wish it had been handwritten instead of that. That's being a nitpicker. How is it possible I'm complaining about a purple cover with that damn image? Basil Wolverton has always been one of my heroes. Well, they got Wally Wood on this cover in a very 1970s ad on the back. 14, we're back to Basil Wolverton. And 15, I don't know, man. That was when streaking was popular. I don't know if that was what, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Wally Wood, this is Wood, was thinking about that. There was a fad of streaking back in the mid-70s where college students, usually it was college students, would run across the campus naked, and everyone would laugh. And I remember at the Stop and Go, when I'd go in there to buy wacky packages and comic books, I would see they had behind the counter streaking magazines. They had whole magazines devoted to this new fad of streaking. Here's number 16, another Wally Wood cover. That should have been on a romance comic. Here's 17, back to Basil Wolverton. Kids putting a car inside of a bottle of Pepsi. 18, a lot of nude characters on the covers of these plop magazines. 18. By the way, the hosts were that you had Cain, Abel, and the witch from the Witching Hour. The Cain being from the House of Mystery, and Abel being from the House of Secrets. The horror host from the another nude person. Nobody wears clothing on the cover of plop now. Ooh, this is when it got bad. 20. See, notice we just have some art that they got, pre-existing art, the panel art. Yeah, that was bad. 20, and then we're in the death throes. There's 21. See, it's just not as cool. Ooh, and then that's even worse. When comics started putting that on the cover, it was the end. The comics weren't as special looking anymore. We're in the bicentennial year. How do you know? Because DC Comics is saluting the bicentennial. And now we're about to have the, whatever you call the 250th birthday is about to happen next year. And Trump's promised a year-long World's Fair celebration not far from here. So that's going to be fun. 23. Oh, this Night Tiger was talking about this ad the other day, the Green Machine from Marx. He was asking if they ever advertised that toy in Gold Key Comics, and I said, I don't believe so. This one, this record collector friend of mine, about 10 years ago, he told me, I had a letter printed in the last issue of Plop, and I thought, man, you're my hero. I've never met someone who's published in Plop, and even in the death throes, they still had great Sergio Aragonés art, and Wally Wood art, but it was just not as. Oh man, look at that Vampire Bat ad and the monster go. This comic book is freezing cold. The problem is he had this kind of art introduced into it, and I don't want to insult this person. Yeah, I do. I don't know who that is. Maybe it's someone. It looks like someone has just sold their bunch of panel cartoons that maybe they were trying to. A lot of this stuff, it's starting to look like garbage because it's a giant-sized issue. So it looks, you can just tell it's page filler. It's not. But when you got Sergio Aragonés drawing Wonder Woman, that stuff was still great. Oh man, they've got William Gaines here. Look at William Gaines kicking Sergio Aragonés out of the office. He's got his Zeppelin collection hanging from the ceiling, and he was famous for being a King Kong collector and a Statue of Liberty collector. And so he always had King Kong looking in through the window of his office. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, and I don't know who this artist is. I guess they're okay. I mean, I don't know. It just was. Oh, let's see if I can find the letter from my friend. Who's his foreign policy advisor? They love communist China. In fact, they've tried to remove Canada from an American orbit. Where are you, man? Maybe he was in the second to last issue.
Points out he's really a bad guy. So help me, because this is so huge. And that's why I wanted to get you on, because I knew he was doing it as a manipulation to try to have more power. How long can he hang on? But that's the second question.
No, this was the last issue. It got up to issue 24, and that was a disillusioning time. And I was very, very sad with the end of Plop. It was, yeah, I forgot. That's another thing that kind of put me off. Plop 24. Let's look at 23. That may be where he was published. Yeah, just an ugly cover with the UPC code. Okay, come on. Yeah, see, that's not what a comic's supposed to be, man. Oh, they're selling old first editions in this. You can get the first edition of Plop. They're just selling first issues. So he has had a deal with the outright Socialist Party in Canada to give him a working majority. He wouldn't have enough votes to do anything if he didn't have his. Some of them are horror related. Well, most of them are probably going to be horror related because this is basically a horror comic. It's a horror parody comic. But historical plots. Okay, his foot's being crushed. If Trudeau's time is up, and I think in the end, art and story, John Albano. Yeah, this art's good. It's just an artist I wasn't familiar with as a kid. Here, you can tell that was designed to be a front cover. Why wasn't that on the cover here? And I don't know. Maybe they don't want the nude characters facing the reader. I don't know. It's just like, why were they drawing all these? You got these weird mutated creatures. Why do they always have to be naked? Rolling Stones are advertising in DC Comics. I always thought that was weird.
They're not elected in Canada.
Okay, here we go. Is he here?
Buddies in the Senate. He can make all sorts of appointments, all sorts of sole source contracts. He can shove hundreds of millions of dollars out the door, including, by the way, to the World Economic Forum. Justin Trudeau was the pride.
Oh, there's a second page.
I got one last thing to tell you, and you're going to find this hard to believe. Early in Justin Trudeau's term, he was elected in 2015. In January 2016, he went to Davos. He met George Soros there in person. And he came to an agreement with Soros to have a
maybe he's not in this issue.
Canadian Immigration and
Leonard Wong, Vancouver, British Columbia.
Foundation in New York City.
Here's a guy from Philadelphia, someone from New York, for another person from Canada. This is a letter from someone in the Gahana Asylum for the Hopelessly Insane, someone from Red Bluff, California. Here's a letter from the Swamp Thing, a letter from Cupid from New Jersey, from someone in Toronto, a lot of Canadian readers. Okay, maybe he's in the third to last issue. I remember it was a complaint letter. He was complaining about the decline in quality of plop. 23. If it's not in the next issue, I'm giving up, man. 22. Just trust me, he's in here. And he was a cool guy. I haven't talked with him in years, though. Oh, yeah. And then I don't know what's up. Look at this text. It looks like it's from a typewriter. Really badly put together.
But as people awaken to this, now we can see it get dislodged. You mentioned Keir Starmer. That's the new Labour Prime Minister who's been in power since July. Ironically, their election was the 4th of July, Alex. I don't know if you've seen the clip. I bet you have because you're a voracious reader. But Keir Starmer was once asked which he prefers, Westminster, that's what they call their parliament, or Davos. Have you ever seen that clip? Yes. It's incredible. And he said he prefers...
Yeah, look at this great one. I love Sergio Aragonés' story. Oh, here we go. Is he in here? Someone from Vermont. Someone from Middle Earth. Georgia. Someone from San Antonio. Come on, man. Oh, here he is. Jimmy Holcomb, Mesquite, Texas. Undear Plop. Yeah. First, you gave us a no-ads comic, bi-monthly. Then you give us a monthly mag with ads. Then you put it back to bi-monthly, still with ads. What gives? Jimmy Holcomb, Mesquite, Texas. And then the response says, what gives is that we need the ads to pay for the art. But as of last issue, trust Plop to announce the greatest news story scoops after they happen. Plop is going to be a bi-monthly with ads, but with more new material than ever before. Of course, we do have to charge a bit more, but we feel it's a bargain compared to the possibility of a 30-cent price for 17 Ploppish pages. Yeah. Well, they added pages, but it's I don't know. The cross-eyed pussycat. You know, it's just like stuff they bought that, some people, probably they almost got it free. Some of this looks like the artist had to pay them to take the art. But anyway, it's a great comic. The last few issues have some problems, but even the last few issues have highlights that make it worth your while to have a complete run. And you can get a complete run of Plop in an afternoon. You can get it in 20 minutes. Just go to mycomicshop.com and just hit buy, add to cart, hit add. How many times? 24 issues. So you just hit buy it now, or add to cart 24 times. You could do that during a lunch break, and then you have the whole set of Plop. No one's ever done a Plop omnibus. Here's Black Magic #2. What the heck time is it, man? It's not even 5 a.m. Boy, it's getting colder. I can feel it getting colder. Here's number 3. It's gonna get to 8 degrees at 8, and then it's gonna start rapidly warming up. But right now, I do feel it colder since I started this program. Here's Doorway to Nightmare number 1. I think this book has gone up in value, but I don't know. Seems like at some point it did. Yeah. Doorway to Nightmare. You know, I don't know if this is Mike Kaluta art. Maybe she was used as a character in that Sandman comic. I don't know, but this is always great. The artwork was always great in this comic, Doorway to Nightmare. Number 4. Come on, don't get me a copyright claim, Alex Jones, with your bumper music, please. Stop, how dare you. Turn that down a bit. I guess I've been playing that a little too loud, sorry. Here's number 5. Oh, she's got the devil bottled up. From Beyond the Unknown, number 22. Like you get a photo. They would do that occasionally. DC would have these photo covers combined with art. I think maybe Jack Kirby started that. I don't know who started doing that. Inside, it looks like it's adventure stuff, probably reprinted from Strange Adventures, I'm guessing. Science fiction stories from probably probably about 10 years before. Probably Kennedy era reprints in this early 70s Nixon era comic. That's number 22 from Beyond the Unknown, and here's number 25. And Secrets of Haunted House, number 1. Some kid was selling this for 5 cents at a garage sale. Oh well, it's part of the history of the comic. Here's number 2. Missing number 3. Here's 4. Remember when Anna Nicole Smith was married to someone that looked exactly like that? Number 4. Thurston Howell III or something like that. Okay, that was 4. I'm missing 5, 6, and 7. Oh my gosh. There sure was a lot of devil stuff in comics back in the 70s, but that's because of the explosion of the occult in the late 60s, and then you had Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist, and I don't know. You don't want to mess around with that stuff. Here's number 9. Number 11. From a distance, you think it's a Steve Ditko cover, and then you look closer and you realize, oh, it isn't a Steve Ditko cover, but it's cool. I am starving, man, and I'm freezing. Here's number 12. Number 13. Whoa, that's kind of a jump. 13, and all of a sudden we're in the 50-cent era with 39. And then here's Secrets of Haunted House special. And what's confusing is they have Secrets of Haunted House, and then there's another comic that looks exactly alike. It's Secrets of Sinister House. And it, at first you think, okay, they changed the name of the comic from Secrets of Haunted House to Secrets of Sinister House, but then you realize, no, it was a completely separate comic with almost an identical logo. So you could write down, I have these issues of Secrets of Sinister House, and then you'll see the same. You may say, oh, I already have number 8 of Secrets of Haunted House. It's right down on my phone. And then you realize, well, this is actually Secrets of the other house. Oh, gosh. Secrets of Sinister House. Number 8. Okay. Number 11. Oh my gosh, this cover is a little. I'm sure that raised a few mother's eyebrows, that cover. Hey, Mom, can I buy this comic? What do you have there? Number 13. Oh, none of those comics I just showed you were childhood copies. All those plops were. This is a childhood comic. I bought this in 3rd grade. Secrets of Sinister House 14. I don't know, some of those Secrets of Haunted House actually might have been, but this one was also you remember your childhood comics. You immediately can identify them and say, oh, that's a childhood one. That was issue 15. This one was also, I think Secrets of Sinister House, hold on a second, must have come first. What was the price on the, yeah, the first issue, you know what? I think they stopped Secrets of Sinister House maybe, and then they started publishing Secrets of Haunted House afterwards, because this is a quarter. Let's see if there's, in these Secrets of Sinister House books, this is another childhood copy, all seem to be 20-cent era. So maybe the 2 books weren't being published at the same time, because that would have caused some confusion. Here's issue 18. Again, a wonderful cover. Some kid put 10 cents on it for some long ago garage sale. Yeah. So, and it says still only 20 cents, and it's the last one I have, so I'm guessing that it was discontinued, and maybe they thought Haunted House sounded better than Sinister House. Maybe they thought little kids didn't know what sinister meant. I don't know. Here's a coverless copy of Unexpected, Tales of the Unexpected number, I think that says 88. Well, now let's look at it, man. This, yeah, this is not in very good condition, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, but well, whatever. That's 88. This is 66. This is a 10-cent comic. This is a 12-cent number 85, Tales of the Unexpected. I should have more copies of this. Look at a green girl. She's going to grow up to dance for Captain Kirk. No, actually Captain Pike, right? 85. This is a great cover. This copy is in terrible condition, as I recall. I forgot what was the oh, it has Chew on it. This is number, what the heck number is that? I think it says 93. I was a living freak. My brain was expanding into a Superman's, but my body was receding back to primitive form. It's like a baby with the lizard body. So that's, I was going to make a political joke. This is a great cover. I think it says issue 80. Tales of the Unexpected. And now we're to the Go-Go Check era, 94. Make way for the monster mayor USA. I would be proud to elect someone like that mayor. Look at that.